Okay, before we even get started with this reaction, I do need to send out a message to one specific person, which I'm pretty sure you're going to be watching. The name is Villa Gillen. You requested a skip the line reaction, which was Ren 360. It's like a 25-minute video and you can do that whole 360 thing. I don't know what is going on with my computer. Every time I try and play around with that 360, it lags the recording and my voice gets thrown out, and the sound of my voice and the actual motion of my mouth like loses a couple of seconds, and it seems like it's trying to catch up. Something is going on with that video and I don't know why, and I'm trying desperately to resolve it. The moment I resolve it, I will drop it. In the meantime, Villa Gillen, give me another reaction so that I can do it for you, literally at no cost, not a skip the line reaction. It'll be your skip the line reaction, but I'll drop that one for you in the meantime, and then once I get this story resolved with my CPU or whatever it is, I will drop that Ren 360. So Villa Gillen, before we even get started, okay, this is for you. I want you to put that down in the description so I can pin it. Give me the reaction that you want me to do. So I'm giving you 2 reactions for the price of 1, but purely because I'm struggling to do the other one, so I want to give you something, essentially. So, Ren, Suicide. This just got dropped. So many people have been asking me to react to this particular one. They've been telling me that it's heavy. I'm assuming so. If anyone's going to be speaking about this particular topic, I'm pretty sure it's going to be heavy. So yeah, let's get ready for it, man. Let's see what he's got. Let's go.
Through the cracks of the night sky, a light goes out on the other side. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Oh, treading on the tracks in the night time. It never really felt like the right time.
I actually like the way he said that, when the light goes out on the other side, the moment like it gets dark on the other side. Suicide, suicide. So at some point in the world, right, the darkness is going to descend on somebody, and someone is going to think of these dark thoughts. But then playing into that, the actual world itself, where the sun is rotating around the world. So when one side of the world is light, may seem okay, and one side of the world is dark. I like the way he's playing into that. It's very clever.
Sitting on the tracks in the night time, it never really felt like the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide. I'm so fucking lonely beneath this. Narcissistic, can't keep a secret. Miscount sheep, I can't sleep, a misfit. Some say trouble, but some say sadistic.
Clever, miscount sheep, man. And I like the fact that he's playing into like things that aren't virtues, like, you know, narcissism and things like that. So it's also like calling him out on his own faults. Every single person has got their own faults, but not every single person is able to look in the mirror and sort of be honest with who they really, really are, because who they really are is terrifying, right? When you actually, you know, the things that you should, you know, the elements in your life that you should be looking at is the elements in your life that you most want not to look at, right? And anybody who is able to break through that barrier and actually introspecting themselves and saying, yes, I can be narcissistic at times, I can be selfish at times, and things like that, is going to be better off in dealing with, you know, this travesty that is life. You know?
Count sheep, I can't sleep, a misfit. Some say trouble, but some say sadistic. Bruises my brother, one time or the other. My skin felt counterfeit, silicone rubber. Bruises my sister, skin pop the blister. Dig deep, resist the feeling when it hit.
Wait a second, that scheme is fire.
Bruises my sister, skin pop the blister. Dig deep, resist the feeling when it hits you.
Say that again.
Bruises my brother, one time or the other. My skin felt counterfeit, silicone rubber. Bruises my sister, skin pop the blister. Dig deep, resist the feeling when it hits you.
I love that scheme that he did. That whole scheme of like the skin being rubber, like silicone, and then silicone, you know, it kind of like stretch and can make a bubble essentially, which makes the blister, and then pop is my sister. The way he's done all of that, the bruise, it's like part and parcel. Like him and his pain are kind of like, are inseparable, like you would be with family. That's very fucking clever.
It's my sister, skin pop the blister. Dig deep, resist the feeling when it hits you. Oh, falling through the cracks of the night sky. A light goes out on the other side. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Oh, treading tracks in the night time. It never really felt like the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide.
Sick boy, bitten by a tick boy.
Aye, nice.
I feel like it's not me, it's the world that's sick.
Fire. I actually like the fact that he's added that Sick Boy little sample into the Suicide track, right? Because he's trying to sort of create a bit of a tie-in over there. I reacted to Sick Boy. It's actually on the Sphere. But you know what? I think I'm going to put Sick Boy on YouTube. It was meant to be for the Sphere because it was a priority request. But I think it's an important enough video to actually put on YouTube for everyone to sort of listen to.
I feel like it's not me, it's the world that's sick.
I'm so fucking washed up and seasick. Masochistic kid with a split lip. 6 feet deep, I can't eat, I'm nervous. Won't stay down cause my body purges. Useless my mother, can't keep in my supper. Skin so pale cause my cheeks leak colour. Truth is my father, you choose your karma.
His skin so pale because my cheeks leak colour.
Skin so pale cause my cheeks leak colour. Truth is my father, you choose your karma. Draw for the sword then drive through the armour.
I like the fact that he's saying truth is my father. Like, I'm not entirely sure what his relationship with his father is. I'm not sure if it was an abusive relationship, but it's almost like truth is abusive to a certain degree. Why would he say that? Why would he say truth is my father? Right? A mother's more nurturing, a father's more like sort of authority driven, essentially, and a father's one who's more likely to be abusive. So truth being abusive, like that people struggle with the actual truth itself. I'm not entirely sure if that's what he's trying to allude to.
My mother can't keep in my supper. Skin so pale cause my cheeks leak colour. Truth is my father, you choose your karma. Draw for the sword then drive through the armour. Oh I, oh I, oh I, falling through the cracks of the night sky. A light goes out on the other side. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Oh I, oh I, oh I, treading on the tracks in the night time.
Do you know what I like about what he excuse me. Do you know what I like about what he's doing with this particular song? Suicide's a very hard topic to actually talk about, and you can make it super depressing. You can go down James Blunt's route, and you can literally feel like you're dying, and you just want to take a knife and stab yourself. Because that's how James Blunt would sort of create music. But what he's doing is very clever, because he's doing a flip in the mood where he's talking about something that's really, really, really hectic, but he's actually keeping it upbeat, right? It doesn't feel like it's sort of draining your energy and it's making you feel completely depleted. And you know who does that really well? It's the only other artist that I have ever seen do a suicide topic in such a brilliant way, is Tyler Joseph from 21 Pilots. So if anybody doesn't know them, for the love of God, just go and follow them. They're absolutely insane. And he's very good at actually keeping the actual melody and the track, specifically on hard-hitting tracks, upbeat, so that he can sort of convey the message that is quite hard-hitting without literally having you completely break down emotionally. Very, very, very clever way to write, very, very clever way to produce, and very, very clever way to deliver something like this, because you could put this on a very sort of like piano dark melody, and then have everybody just feel depressed for the next 3 days as if they've watched 7 pounds 3 times, right? But yeah, so I really like the way he's done it. I mean, the only other artist that I know that has done something like this that is so good at doing and conveying a suicide message this good is Tyler Joseph. Tyler Joseph, there's 2 tracks. It's Save Me and Gonna, right? From 21 Pilots. Save Me and Gonna. If you guys want to go take a look at those tracks. They're absolutely incredible. Yet he conveys an insane amount of pain in those tracks. You can go take a look at them for yourself. But I love the fact that Ren is now getting to a Tyler Joseph level of artist for me. And I promise you, for those who know how I feel about Tyler Joseph, that is the highest praise on this channel, right? Carry on.
Oh I, treading on the tracks in the night time. It never really felt like the right time. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Suicide, suicide, suicide. Suicide, 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 suicide.
Almost boppy.
Suicide, suicide, suicide. It's hard to take off from the ground when your wings are cut. Your stomach burns when you drink.
Okay. So, all right. Okay, I was giving you I was giving you something. Then I'm like, oh no, this is what he does and whatever else. And I see now. Okay, now he's gonna go into a part. Now he went into the piano vibe. It's always a piano. It's always a piano. Okay, when it comes to this kind of topic, I shit you not. It is always a sad piano. Always. Okay, so he switched it up on us.
Suicide, suicide. Suicide, suicide, suicide.
All right.
It's hard to take off from the ground when your wings are cut. Your stomach burns when you're drinking from an empty cup. You know the entire ocean came from my tear ducts. I see the world through Fibonacci sequences and double Dutch. I guess there's some that's born lucky, there's some that's not. I tried to cut away my bitterness, hatchet job. I locked my youth inside a trunk, inside a pickup truck, then dumped the whole thing over that same bridge the night you jumped. I think about that sometimes, vividly. What it felt like to look down and see tranquility. One sudden movement in a world of possibility. Only one movement to expose our fragility. I fucking miss you, and I miss myself. I miss thinking we were indestructible as well. I miss chilling by the pier cave and kicking back with Callum, Hugo, Sega, Justin, Stevie and the fucking lads. I miss missing that. I numb myself to close the gap. I never even call them up. The distance is my plaster cast. The truth is to the day you jumped, my childhood jumped too. But I still can't find that anger. All I find is missing you, man, I miss you. With all my rhymes, I picture running 5 minutes quicker, I'm right on time. I picture pulling you back over the edge and then we're crying, and holding you, my brother, and telling you that it's fine. Not the way that it worked, cause I was late like a jerk. There's not a day where I could find a way to break from the hurt. Your body missing, so we never got to wave to the hearse. I hope you're listening, I love you, man, I miss you absurd. Fuck. Suicide, suicide, suicide. It's hard to take off from the ground when your wings are cut. Your stomach burns when you're drinking from an empty cup. You know the entire ocean came from my tear ducts. I see the world through Fibonacci sequences and double Dutch. I guess there's some that's born lucky, there's some that's not. I tried to cut away my bitterness, hatchet job. I locked my youth inside a trunk, inside a pickup truck, then dumped the whole thing over that same bridge the night you jumped. I think about that sometimes, vividly. What it felt like to look down and see tranquility. One sudden movement in a world of possibility. Only one movement to expose our fragility. I fucking miss you, and I miss myself. I miss thinking we were indestructible as well. I miss chilling by the pier cave and kicking back with Callum, Hugo, Sega, Justin, Stevie and the fucking lads. I miss missing that. I numb myself to close the gap. I never even call them up. The distance is my plaster cast. The truth is to the day you jumped, my childhood jumped too. But I still can't find that anger. All I find is missing you, man, I miss you. With all my rhymes, I picture running 5 minutes quicker, I'm right on time. I picture pulling you back over the edge and then we're crying, and holding you, my brother, and telling you that it's fine. Not the way that it worked, cause I was late like a jerk. There's not a day where I could find a way to break from the hurt. Your body missing, so we never got to wave to the hearse. I hope you're listening, I love you, man, I miss you absurd. Fuck.
Let me paint you a picture. Stick with me for a second. just, even if you close your eyes, follow me here. Follow me on this journey for a second. You wake up one morning, you're unbelievably excited. You're going on one of the most beautiful journeys in your life. You've never been on this huge cruise ship. You've never been on a huge cruise ship. You've never seen the world outside your own little box and your own little environment and your own little society and community. This is your time to take to the seas and see something absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. You've never seen such thing before. And you wake up in the morning and you're so excited for this. So you pack up everything and you take your taxi and you go down to the docks wherever the cruise ship is docked. And as you get there, you just see this absolute beautiful cruise ship. Beautiful, something, it's so grand in its magnitude. And it just speaks of just the journey and the beauty and the discovery and everything that you've sort of never had in your life. And this is your first trip on a cruise ship. So, filled with glee and excitement, you stand in line, you do the ticket thing, you do the passport thing, and then you start boarding the ship. And as you start boarding, it's just these layers just stacked and stacked and stacked. And there's just this massive ship, and you go all the way to the top. And you go to the front of the ship and you just see everybody waving at you and waiting for the ship to take off. And it's just massive. You are just levels above the ocean. And everything you see in front of you is literally just going to be open seas. Endless possibilities. The ship starts to back up so that it can set sail. And it sets sail. So with all of your excitement, you've never experienced this before. You just literally tour the entire ship. You go all the way around. You go to the front, you go to the back, and you look down and you see this the water churning up from the propellers. And you go to the front and you see dolphins jumping in front of these ships, and off you go. And this is something that is absolutely beautiful. Life could not be better for you at this moment. And then you go down and you have something to eat, and you decide, tomorrow's another day, I'm going to go to bed. My first night sleeping on a cruise ship. And as you go to bed, 2 hours into your sleep, into your restful sleep, you feel a massive bang. You hear metal cracking and creaking and water gushing and people screaming. So your whole world gets shaken up. You run out and you notice that there are people ushering you out of the alleyways and saying you need to go immediately to the deck areas where there are the lifeboats. And as you run, you leave everything behind, and as you run to those deck areas, there's just absolute chaos. Chaos. Everyone is trying to scramble, everyone's petrified, and the ship is going down, and it's going down quick. What was meant to be something absolutely beautiful is now ending up in a complete chaos and catastrophe with fear and terror. But because you took a little time to get to the decking area where the lifeboats were starting to go, filled with people, and all the lifeboats had gone. And then you wait your turn, and it gets to a point where there's one lifeboat left. They've completely filled with people, and it is just you and a child. Now, let's not forget that this is a hypothetical story. This isn't happening to you right now. But all that's left is just yourself. How old is Ren? 20-something years old? And a child of 10, let's say. And the person says, we can only take one more. You can't put the child on your lap. You can't. We can only take one more. It's either you or the child. You as the slightly older person, you get to decide who lives. Do you put the child on board and go down with the ship because there is no more space? Or do you put yourself on the lifeboat and have to live the rest of your life knowing that you took that seat to yourself and not the child, and the child went down with the ship? So I want to ask you, what would you do? Would you give the seat to the child? Or would you take that seat? "99% of you have said, of course I'll give the seat to the child, I'll go down with the ship." I know it. You said it to yourself. Now, I've said it to myself. Right? And yes, that's a valiant thing to do. It's what society expects of you, right? Is to save the child. But the crazy thing is, I didn't give you a realistic scenario. I gave you a hypothetical scenario. And you're not even willing to save yourself in a hypothetical scenario. And it begs the question, why? Why do we think like that? Why is it that when a simple question like that gets asked, you can make a split-second decision that your life isn't worth a thing? Your life holds no purpose past the sinking of that ship. You would give it to a child that you know nothing about. You don't know who this person is. This child doesn't even exist. But you would gladly just pass on your existence and your purpose to a child who you don't know what that child will do for the world. It might be negative, it might be positive. But you give no credence to what you do for the world. And the crazy thing is that psychological thought process speaks to our insecurities. It speaks to how we see ourselves. Is we think that the valiant thing to do is to give up our own lives without realizing that by you stepping on that lifeboat, you could have saved thousands of children. You can't save everyone. But by being alive and saving yourself, you can save thousands of others. It's not your job to save everybody. It's virtually impossible to save everybody. But the one person you can save, and more specifically in a hypothetical situation, is yourself. But we never take that lifeboat. Ever. We always tend to think that it's okay for our life, our existence, everything to perish, to sink to the bottom of the ocean with that ship, because we consistently refuse to take the lifeboat. Taking the lifeboat means that through that lesson of trauma, you can go out and affect and change 1,000 different children's lives. But you're willing to completely rid the world of your purpose for one child because you think that your life holds no value. What do you think happens every time you think of suicide, or you have those thoughts in your head, or someone as brilliant as Ren has those thoughts in his head? He couldn't save that child. He couldn't save the person that jumped over the bridge. And in his guilt and in his sorrow, he could have not taken the lifeboat. He could have ended it. But he took the lifeboat. And he made this. And 642,000 people that needed to hear it heard it. By taking the lifeboat, Ren has given a seat on the lifeboat to thousands of people. By you taking the lifeboat, by you taking your seat on the lifeboat, you don't just save yourself, you save thousands of other people who can use you as inspiration, as motivation, as their purpose, so that they can find themselves, so that they can take a seat on their lifeboat. And if they do that, and if you do that, you will never be in a scenario where there will not be a seat in the lifeboat for any child. But your seat on that lifeboat is more important. And if you can't even save that seat for yourself in a hypothetical situation, how do you save that seat for yourself in reality? It's an interesting thought experiment. You know, because people's moral sense kicks in and people's virtues kick in, and you know, the things they've been taught kick in, and it's like, of course, like, I'm going to be the valiant hero. Of course I'm going to give my seat up to my child, to a child. You're someone's child. Maybe you have a child. You can save thousands of children. Ren is. What he doesn't realize is that he actually took his seat on the lifeboat. He couldn't save the person that didn't want to take his own seat in the lifeboat. But through that tragedy, he learned that maybe being on that lifeboat can add more to the world. And he took it. And here we are, reacting to one of the most important songs in this musical age. I love you all. Please stay safe. Please stay healthy. Catch you on the next one.